So, hello, hi everyone. It's great to see many teachers across the region joining us today already. I can see just under 400 people. So please do say hi and let us know where you are from in the chat box. I can see teachers from Vietnam, Indonesia, from Thailand and Myanmar as well. So thank you very much for joining us today. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lê Thùy Dương. You can call me Dương. I'm Program Manager, English for Education Systems, British Council here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So welcome to the 6th episode of ASEAN Teacher Webinar Series, where we are talking about how teachers can teach pronunciation. And I'm joined by a panel of expert teachers from Indonesia, Thailand, Myanmar, and Vietnam. I'm going to introduce them to you in a couple of minutes. First of all, a little background of ASEAN Teacher Webinar Series. It is the British Council's initiative in strengthening the communities of English teachers amongst ASEAN countries. We'd like to create a platform for teachers of English to meet together and share their experience, challenges, as well as good practice in English language teaching. So British Council teams in Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam have been collaborating and partnering with teachers across the region to bring you webinars which focus on the theme of each month's feature-free online course, but from an ASEAN's perspective. And the webinar series has been organized on a monthly basis since September last year. It covers a diverse range of topics such as motivating learners, gender in education, and teaching different language skills. And so if you or your colleagues miss any of these events, you can watch them again on the British Council Vietnam's YouTube or on the British Council Indonesia YouTube. Our colleague David Day will have put the links in the chat box. So today we are looking at how to teach pronunciation, and at the end of the webinar, I'm gonna introduce to you the online course on the same theme, which also begins today. So again, I'm looking on the chat and I see lots of people from across the region, and we have just under 500 participants watching Zoom, and it's good to note that if you have any problem following us on Zoom, so please, you can follow us on YouTube channel of the British Council in Indonesia. So our colleague will put the link in the chat as well. So before we start, before I introduce our panel, just a little of housekeeping that I would like to tell you. So today we're gonna hear sharing from panel, but we could also love to hear your own experience as well as your challenges and your ideas as well. So please do share your comments in the chat box. And when you go through the webinar, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. We should have about 10 minutes toward the end to address some of your questions. And please kindly note that the session will be recorded for purpose of capturing key ideas and takeaways. By attending, you acknowledge that your image and comments may be recorded, and we will also be sharing that on our channels at the British Council Vietnam's YouTube and British Council in Indonesia's YouTube. So if you and your college missed this today webinar, so you can watch this again later on. So to start, I would like to introduce our panel. So hopefully you can see on them now. So as I said, my name is Yu. I'm from Vietnam, and being with me today, we have a Linh from Vietnam as well. So Linh, can you introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nguyễn Thùy Linh, but you can call me Linh for short. I have been teaching in a School of Foreign Languages at Taiwan University in Vietnam for 16 years now. In my job, I often work with pre and in-service teachers, and I also teach skills for college students as well. I hope that, and I definitely believe that we would have a very productive afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Linh. And from Vietnam, we can go to Indonesia. So, Fitra, can you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, thank you, Miss Young. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. My name is Fitra Murni. You can call me Fitra. I am an English teacher of SMAN 3 Padang Panjang, West Sumatra, Indonesia. It is a good honor for me to collaborate with my other friends from Vietnam, Myanmar, and also from Thailand. And thank you for the moderator. And I'd like to express my great thanks to British Council to make me in this great webinar. Nice to meet you all. I hope that what we learn here, so I believe that British Council will give the best one for you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Fitra. And moving on, we can go to Myanmar. So, Tinza, it's your time. Could you please say some words about yourself, please?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Mingalaba. Yeah, I'm from Myanmar, and I'm Tinza Tho, a teacher's trainer and also a training consultant, and working with other different organizations. And I'm very glad to meet with all of you and also collaborate with the trainers and teachers from different countries from Asia. Thank you.
Thank you, Tinza. And last but not least, we are now going to Thailand. So, Kay, can you introduce yourself?
สวัสดีค่ะ Hi everyone. Hi everyone. I'm Kay, as in okay, and I'm from Thailand. I'm an educational supervisor working at Primary Educational Service Area Office 1, Uthai Thani, Thailand. And in my context, I'm working with 77 schools and about 59 Thai teachers of English. And I'm responsible for research, supervision, and language teaching, English language teaching and learning. And I'm so happy to join this webinar, and I hope that I can share my experiences in the field and learn from all of you. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Kay. Thanks all of our panelists for joining us today. And so back to our discussion. First of all, as I said today, we are looking at teaching pronunciation. So why bother teaching pronunciation at all? Well, we know from our experience that learners of English both need and want to develop their pronunciation for better communication. That much seems obvious. And we also know that phonological awareness had an impact on own four language skills as well as vocabulary and grammar, etc. So my first question for everybody is that what do you think are some of the challenges that teachers face when teaching pronunciation? So let's start with Fitra from Indonesia. Can you share your experience first?
Okay, thank you, Miss Yang. Okay, everyone, nice to be a part of this webinar. Right, so in here, I'm not teaching you, but I'm just sharing my experiences and ideas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for British Council. The first one that I find in teaching pronunciation is there are some challenges here, but in my mind, teaching pronunciation is very important in giving to our students. Why? Because it is a part of a skill that the students have to improve to make their communication well. So there are some challenges that I find here. I will give you some points here. The first one, my students are hard to pronounce English words. As we know that in Indonesia or in Bahasa, we have to pronounce all sounds in a word. So we don't make a sound disappear. But in English, we have sometimes to make it disappear. So that's why I feel my students are hard to pronounce English words, but it is not a problem for me myself, because as an English teacher, we have to try to make the best one for our students to master English, either written or spoken English. Okay. And the second one, my students do not pay good attention in pronouncing words. For example, how do they use raising or falling intonation in questions, but they almost use whatever they like. But for me, myself, to make them brave to speak, I'm okay. But in my mind, I have to change my students' mindset. Why? Because pronunciation is very important in communication. And then the third one, my students are not interested in teaching pronunciation while I'm teaching them pronunciation. Sometimes they said, oh, it's hard for me to pronounce, something wrong with my tongue. But I motivate them and I try to make them brave enough to pronounce it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of teaching pronunciation? Do you feel the same idea with me? So as an English teacher, I try to make them improve their pronunciation, even though it is a hard work for me and my students, but I have to do it. Okay, in overcoming this, of course, I have to try to find the best ways to make them interested in teaching pronunciation and to make them to be self-confident enough to pronounce English words. So I find some technique, or I practice some according to my ways. It is the best way, but I don't think it is the best way for you. But I try to make them interested in my teaching pronunciation by using games. The first one, I make them to have a kind of game whispering. So I try to write a sentence on a piece of paper, and I pronounce the sentence to my students. So I divide my students into some parts, okay, some groups. So the first student will come to the front, and the second student will hear from the first one coming to me and try to whisper what she or he got from me, and then stop, and then the next one will come to until the end, and at the end of the student will say and show the written sentence, and I feel they are very
totally different
in learning pronunciation. And oh my God, I got confused about this word because she whispered from me like this. Okay, so I think by using this, it helps me in teaching pronunciation. And then the second one, I'm not happy enough with it. I try to find another one, because I have to integrate it between not only pronunciation, but other aspects of language like grammar or writing. Okay, and then I try to make some similar words, and I pronounce in front of the classroom. And for example, like this, she always sees me at the sea, and then must say, oh my God, she see, and then okay, so they are very motivated in learning pronunciation. So in my mind, I don't force my student to pronounce well tightly, but I try to make them happy in learning pronunciation. Maybe that's all from me, and I believe that British Council will have the best way to teach pronunciation, but I am here just to share my experience, and I strongly believe that three of my partners here, our speakers here, will give you more interesting ways in teaching pronunciation. Okay, Miss Yang, that's all from me. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone on YouTube Live, our viewers, and also the participants in this Zoom meeting. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Fitra, for your sharing. So it seems that your challenges come from your students, mostly from your students. And it's interesting that you mentioned some activities that you apply to motivate your students to learn pronunciation. And I really enjoy the whispering activity. And when we compare the message from the beginning at the end, so it's totally different sometimes. So it's funny. Thanks, Fitra, again. So let's move on to Myanmar. So Tinza, you have a lot of experiences in English language teaching with different roles. For example, teacher, trainer, facilitator, and training consultant. So do you face the same or different challenges with Fitra, as Fitra teaching secondary and high school students?
Yeah, some of the challenges are the same with our country. So in our country as well, in Myanmar, so we have some students have some challenging for mother tongue L1 interference. So most Asian languages are tone languages, so they cannot pronounce with stretch time language. So at the time when they are pronouncing, so they always miss final plosives. So for example, like S song, like that, and then for example, my name, so the first name is Miet, but in Myanmar, we say Miet only. But in English with stretch, so it will be with Miet, for example. Yeah, that kind of thing. So final plosive, we don't have, we normally pronounce that final plosive. That's one challenge for students, and then they are less confident in some pronunciation like pleasure and also measure. So that kind of things, they have some challenges. So we have to practice them and then also encourage them. This is not our mother tongue, so we need to practice, and then we need to get some exposure, and at the time they can practice well. So that's a part of my sharing, because Fitra share most of the same things. So that's why I'm going to find out that kind of things. Mother tongue L1 interference in Myanmar as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's true that the difference between the L1 and the English as a target language is one of the challenges that teachers across the region, ASEAN countries, both teachers and learners are facing with when teaching and learning English. So from Myanmar, we are now going to Thailand. So Kay, as an educational supervisor, you've been working very closely with primary teachers, and especially who are not English major, but they are teaching English at primary schools. I heard that you were working on a project with primary teachers who are not English major. So what are the challenges for them in teaching pronunciation to young learners in Thailand?
Well, I think it's the pronunciation model, native versus non-native model of pronunciation in Thai context, good debate and endless debate. And the language educators, like many well-known educators, they argue that English as an international language, or aka EIL, should not adopt a native model of pronunciation. Rather, second language speakers and teachers should adjust their speech, to cater for an international scope of English, like for students to use both production and perception in diverse, like speech communities. I think we are familiar with Kachu's circles, Kachu's model, the inner circle, the outer circle, and the expanding circle. So I think the challenges would be to prepare the students to use Englishes in different circles. And for that matter, when we're talking about how to prepare the students, when the students choose the teaching materials for the pronunciation, it might be heavily rely on, minority prestigious accents, such as, the received pronunciation, the RP or American English or British English in Thai context, like it's based on the textbooks that the school used. And I think in our ASEAN countries, we have this similar problems, and such accents can be regarded as rather unintelligible, for young learners. It's not understandable when they hear the accent, because they don't use that kind of accent in their daily life, and some of them use English or learn English with ASEAN teachers in school. So when they hear, or when they listen to listening exercises that have the RP or American English or British English, they find it challenges for them.
Thanks, Dee. Thanks, Kay. It's great that you mentioned about the dominance of standard model pronunciation in the course book and other teaching materials. In fact, the majority of the users and teacher of English are non-native speakers. And if we only showcase standard accents like British accents or American accents, and a couple of exercises insisting on exact replication of those models. So I think more teachers may feel insecure because they don't reflect these models, and they are constantly being reminded that they don't sound like that, and they probably never will. So it's not motivating for everybody. So using the non-native speaker model of pronunciation is a good idea to teach students. So thank you very much, Kay. And I also do agree with you that intelligibility, the ability to be understood by different listeners, this word is not easy to pronounce, so clarity is easier to say, is more important than be trying to sound like native speakers. Okay, thank you. So to our audience, I see in the chat box there are a lot of comments and sharings from you. So thanks for that. So please keep doing that, so that we can learn from each other. Last but not least, let's ask Linh from Vietnam. So Linh, you are teaching university students, and you are also working as a teacher trainer. So you work closely with teachers of all levels in Vietnam too. So do you have the same or different challenges? Can you share with us, please?
Yeah, thank you. I think I feel the same way with Ficha and Thimja, that our mother tongue interference is one very important role or challenge in learning another language, especially English. And I also I think I can't agree with Kay more on preparing our students with the use of word Englishes. Yet I would like to emphasize on the size of the teachers. When the challenges for teachers not only comes from our learners, but also from our inner self. sometimes it just like we, our teachers, are not so much confident with our pronunciation. There are questions like, is this right in English pronunciation rules? Do we know all about, assimilation, elision, or some, special rules in pronunciation? Or should we adopt British accent or American accent, and not only those questions are for us, but actually that is something that, the outsider, like parents and students, they also consider those aspects when, kind of like assessing teachers. So preparing our students for, using and learning English as a lingua franca is a point, but preparing our teachers to feel comfortable and to feel a little bit more relaxed in our teaching pronunciation is also a thing. And I really like your own idea, about especially the point that Kay say about having a role model who is not, perfect in pronunciation with British or American accent, but that is something communicative, and that is the point. I think so. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linh. So it's interesting that you mentioned about world languages, Englishes. So that means we don't have only British English or American English anymore. We have a variety of English in the world nowadays, and hopefully one day that ASEAN teachers are the owner of ASEAN English, for example. We are the owner of that kind of English as well. So thank you all for your sharing, and also thanks to our audience as well. I can see over 100 participants joining us on Zoom, and they are sharing a lot of ideas and comments in the chat box. So that's all about teacher challenge, and from your sharing, I can say that teachers face both internal and external challenges. For example, internal is about the lack of confidence or the L1 interference or the students' shyness, etc. And external challenges, for example, only native model of pronunciation or the lack of emphasis of pronunciation in the course books, for example. So that's all about teachers' challenges. How about the students? So let's move to the second question. What do you think are challenges students have with improving their pronunciation? For example, how difficult for them to learn individual sounds or stress in a word or stress in a sentence, intonation or connecting speech, etc. So may I ask Linh first, please, that you are teaching university students.
Yeah, thank you. My experience with university students shows that fossilized error is one of the most challenging things. Although our students, they have learned English from primary school, most of them primary or secondary. However, after a long time, they have error which is not, corrected. Then it becomes fossilized, and it's very difficult to change. It has become a kind of like habit, especially when our mother tongue is a kind of like is a monosyllabic language. It means that every word in Vietnamese is a single sound, and then it's very difficult to learn about intonation. About stress, word stress first, and also intonation and things, and those, and also the final consonant is our problem. And all those, when they become fossilized, it's quite difficult to deal with. Yeah, especially for adult learners like what we have.
Thanks, Linh. So how about you, Kay? So Linh have just shared about the challenges that her university students face with improving their pronunciation. How about primary students in Thailand? From your observations, what are the most difficult for them when learning pronunciation?
Well, I think in primary context here, students lack exposure to diverse accents, diverse Englishes, and that when it comes to classroom language practices, they go with the same accent or same American English or British English or standard English most of the time. So, but a lot of educators and curriculum developer in Thailand, we try to promote more diversity in writing up or redesign the curriculum. I can give you some example that we are working on. It's the development of Her Royal Highness Sirinthorn 65th birthday anniversary. Her project is on teaching material project in many variety subjects, and especially in English subject as well. And so the students and the teachers in Border Patrol Police School, these schools are located in a marginal border part of Thailand, very remote schools, and they'll be using variety of non-native speaker model and for their listening activities. And with this, they will be promoted with the plural linguistic community, community system. They will be prepared to real world multilingualism. And when we do this, it's not just like the story to tell, but we actually did that. So we started with the problems or challenges facing, and what are their needs in their pronunciation, the materials and the listening activities or communication activities. And so we designed the listening audio by using the NNS model. Like put diverse Englishes into. So we asked volunteer teachers, like Israeli teachers or Chinese teachers, Filipino teachers, Thai teachers to join in and then record the listening script and put into the listening materials. And we also provide the guides for the for these border patrol police teachers to be able to teach the students using the NNS models. Yeah. And I just received the tryout results today, just before our webinar, and many students and teachers in these remote areas, they felt happy using listening scripts and listening audios. Yeah, we feel happy now.
Very interesting, Kay. I agree with you that I really like the way that you customize the materials and activities to meet the students in Thailand and to have them to expose to different kind of actions. Because if they just practice with what we call standard English accents, so when they go out to the society, they it's just like a jungle. There are a lot of different accents, and the most important thing that they can communicate effectively in the real society. Yeah, that's really interesting. And not only use native speaker or native teachers to teach pronunciation and speak in the classroom, we need to give the opportunities for different teachers with different accents from different countries. I believe that. Thank you so much. And how about students in Myanmar, Tisa, beyond your experience and observation? So what are the most difficult part for them to improve their pronunciation?
Yes, I agree with Ling and also Kay. Yes, in some area, they have mispronounced also in intonation. And for example, whenever they see the question mark, so they think like that, they have to raise their voice. So for example, are you coming? That is okay, right? So where is the book? So say that it will be falling song. But they always say whenever they see question mark, they raise their voice, right? So for raising and falling. So that's a very noticeable. And then another one is connected speech. Yeah. So when they are talking about shua song, so they have that problem. And for example, a cup of tea. So they pronounce a cup of tea. Yeah. Instead of saying a cup of tea. So when they are using the connected speech as well, it's noticeable. And also the final plosives that I mentioned before. So they have an individual song. So they sometimes, and then they put, instead of saying song, so they never put that song. Yeah. So that's are the very obvious things students can see and that kind of challenges in Myanmar. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Tisa. So we agree together that we don't need to ask students to sound like native speaker, but they need to improve their pronunciation and based on some key principles to improve their intelligibility, right? Intelligibility, clarity, and avoid misunderstanding. Intelligibility, and avoid misunderstanding. Like for example, raising their voice or lowering their voice at the end of the sentence or questions, for example. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. And we all know about challenges of teachers and also the students in teaching and learning pronunciation. So let's move to the next question for everybody. That is pronunciation something that we should teach in single lessons, or we should integrate them in other aspects of language learning? And what are your practical techniques as well as activities to teach pronunciation? So for this question, I would like to start with Ling again.
Right, thank you. Actually, I think teaching pronunciation can be differ from ages to ages. For example, if we are teaching pronunciation to primary learners, then songs and chants and rhythm with a lot of repetition can work. However, for adult learners, such as college students, then telling them about the phonemic transcript would be, very effective and fast way from my experience. However, I think there's some principle that we can apply to any ages of learners. Like, I like that word integration. And we can always, we have a lot of ways to integrate teaching pronunciations with other things. For example, we can integrate teaching pronunciation with teaching other skills like listening, reading or writing, and speaking also, with mimic, with repeating, and with, like reading aloud. So listening, for example, we have them listen for comprehension, and maybe later we give them the script and have them, role play, because they have listened to the sounds, and then it's quite, safe and also encouraging for them to just repeat the script. So integrating with other skills. My favorite is integrating teaching pronunciations with movement and visuals, such as we can have videos. I like the way that we use many other resources to support us in our classroom. Like we can use video with, how to pronounce single sounds. From British Council channel, I saw many good videos there. We can also, the point that Kay and others has mentioned, we can also use video to show them that even we have different accents, we still have successful communication. And that is a way to persuade our students that, just keep going and do not, fear of making mistake, provided that, like you say, we are intelligible. And other thing is we can integrate teaching pronunciation with technology. This day, technology is something that we cannot, omit from our life. And then it is in education also. I know that we have a lot of apps and websites, and we can use them for, not only on class, but also for, our students studying at home, which can be kind of like motivating. And again, integration is the key word, I think. Thank you.
Thanks, Ling. I see many teachers across the region put in the checks that they agree with you about integrate pronunciation within other language skills. And I do like the ideas that you mentioned that we should make pronunciation practical and like visible. You see, I myself believe that even university students abstract cognitive understanding of pronunciation is not enough for them. So we have to make pronunciation practical and visible. But how about during the pandemic, when we learn online and also we wearing mask when we are in the classroom, whenever we have the opportunity. So does it make the teaching pronunciation more difficult for you, Ling?
Right. The pandemic has affected every aspect of our life, but I think we always find a solution in any situations. Like we mentioned, that apart from integrating it with other skills, like we can have on class in person, that we can always use tools. Practicing together. Like now, we are having video conferencing, but we can still see our, mouth movement. And we, like I mentioned, we have a lot of videos teaching how to pronounce words on YouTube, or we can even record ourselves and show our students. We also have some tools, like you all here may know, Google Assistant, or some other speech-to-text tool where our students can practice, saying the words, saying the sentence, and then even recognize whether, the machine, the cell phone can recognize it or not. So actually, we have multiple tips using technology that can help us during this pandemic, and also in normal life when the pandemic is over.
Yeah. So we not only integrate pronunciation in teaching different kind of skills, but also integrate technology in teaching English as well, including pronunciation. And it seems that the pandemic makes all of us, especially teachers, be more creative, have a different approach to teach different kind of skills and aspects of language. So thanks for sharing, Ling. It's very interesting. So how about, that is about university students. I believe that we teach adults very differently from teaching young learners. So Fitra, you are teaching younger learners at secondary and high school students. So do you have the same or any different ideas. I remember that you shared some tips teaching pronunciation in the first question, but if you have any more ideas, so please to share with us.
Okay, thank you, Miss Young. I'm with the three speakers before. Okay, so I think I have the same ideas. For example, I give my students a kind of listening to songs, English songs. Okay, so I feel personally that it is helpful because my students, for example, I give them script. There are some missing words there, and I try to play the songs. Okay, and then the students are asked to fill in the blanks. Okay, after that, I ask them to give their own answers, and I feel that they are very happy in doing that one. And then also the pronunciation of my students also improved. Okay, and they can differentiate. But for example, at the time, they have had something else, and then they said that, oh my God, I was wrong because of maybe I caught the wrong thing that I heard. Okay, so I think listening is very important for students improving their pronunciation. And also, like my friend saying, watching English videos. Okay, I try to give my students English films or cartoons. Okay, and from that one, they can learn how to pronounce the words, and they understand the film very well. So integrated between pronunciation and other aspects of language are very important in teaching pronunciation, I think. Okay, and then also in Indonesia, we have Kamusku. It is a kind of apps. So I asked my student to install the app, and then do you know the app? We can have a kind of translation there, and also how to pronounce the word. For example, present, and then the students can differentiate when we put the stress, so it can be noun or verb, and also how to pronounce the word. So I think it is a very good way. And I also give my student the link of British Council provided learning English British learning English British .id or IG, I forgot, because yeah, okay, so my students said they are very happy because there are so many things that they can study from the platform. Or I strongly believe that pronunciation should be integrated with other aspects of language. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Fitra. I like the idea that you use songs to practice pronunciation, and thanks for promoting British Council website as well. Actually, we do have English teach English for kids, teach English for teens, and teach English for adults. Learn English, kids learn English for teens, learn English for adults, and teach English as well. So for different websites. Thank you so much. And so we move to Kay from Thailand. So can you share some ideas about practical way of teaching pronunciation in Thailand?
I prepared you guys 3 mini activities. So for showcase or model pronunciation, or to show the length of the vowel sound, you can use the rubber bands. I hope you guys can see it here. Yeah. So with the word, for example, banana. Yeah, banana. So we say we do this. I don't know. Okay, this way. Yeah. So banana. Yeah. So you can stretch out the rubber bands for the primary kids so they notice. So this way, the teachers facilitate the kids to notice the difference of their own, like their own first language and second language. Because in Thai, they would Thai English, they would go banana. So it's like banana, banana, right? But in English, it's banana. No, banana, right? So you can go slow. I mean, you can go fast, but in Thai would be tone language, so it would be banana, like that. So to help the young learners notice the differences. And the second activity is the minimal, the minimal. Yeah, I don't know. It's too small though. I'll try to make it. Okay, I hope you guys can see. So walk, think, stuff like that. So Dinsar, can you say one word?
Okay, think.
Think, yeah. Okay, so when I hear it, I'm a young learner, so I put the sticker. I put the sticker on the word think, like that. Yeah. So it's a bingo, yeah, bingo game. So very easy for teacher and students to work together, and they can sticker on the word they hear or use the cover. And I recommend using the stickers so because it will be reused. Yeah, it's reusable for kids, and then you can have them work together, student A and B, and one student as a teacher and one student B do like this, and then they take turn. And or you can also use the game keys for them, you know, like if you don't have the stickers to put on the words. And also you can also use the phoneme blends with that activity. So instead of just saying sink, you can start with like that, right? Or you can say like that for young learners, and then they try to find the words, and then the winner is the person who have all the stickers on it. Yeah. And the last activity that I have is this one. The A and B students, so they compare the minimal pairs. Yeah, so it's a pair, minimal pair. So student A will have the list of what cars, and B will have the minimal pair. So student A would be Lin. I don't know if Lin can see it, Lin. So you can say number one, and then Fitra can say number one in your student B list. So Lin, your A, and Fitra B. Okay, go.
Cheap.
Fitra? Your B, Fitra. Your microphone, please.
Oh my God, I cannot see it, Miss K.
B.
B, cheap, is that?
Yes.
And then student A and B compare. Yeah, compare to sound like cheap or cheap, stuff like that. And they can take turn, or you can, you know, like make a bigger group, 2 to 4 or 4 to 8, or you know, take turns, whatever you want. Yeah. I mean, hopefully the pandemic will end soon and then we can do this in class. But I think you guys can always adapt these kind of activities online as well. Make it like online, you know, online bingo, phoneme bingo cards for students to work at home, or they can record their clip video and then send to you afterwards.
Thanks, Kay. A lot of interesting and practical activities for younger students. So last but not least, I would like to hear some ideas from Tinsa from Myanmar as well. So the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Yes, very interesting ideas from different candidates. And then here I have some ideas. And pronunciation is the multisensory. So involving the body for singing and also moving around like the other people say, right? And also and they can practice with some activities. For example, with here a piece of paper, and then they can say voice or voiceless song, right? So if it is moving or if it is not moving, they can check with the for young learners, they like for example like butterfly. Okay, let's play a butterfly. It's your butterfly fly or not? So and also they can touch their throat. So it's vibration. So they can check with everything. So when they are playing a game with that one, yeah, and also they can do some activities like speaking aloud and whispering and also mouthing silently. Yeah. And when we are playing actively, for example, Ling and me, and when I'm mouthing silently, no voice at all, and Ling has to gets what I'm saying like that. So that's a kind of silently mouthing only, no voice at all. Huh? And another one is Tang Twisters. It's very famous, and then everybody knows Tang Twisters. Yeah. So at the time, they can practice the horizontal Tang position, front, center, and back, and also the vertical Tang position, high, mid, and low, and also lip position, so rounded and neutral or spread. Yeah. And this is also a good idea when they are playing Tang Twisters. There are a lot of Tang Twisters, and also using a mirror. So that's very fun activity as well. So when they are using the mirror and they look in the mirror, and then they have to compare the visual movement of the lips and the internal sensation of movement, and also they can mime and using gestures. So by using a mirror, that's a very good activity. When I was younger as well, I use a mirror if I want to practice how does it sound, and then what about my lip movement? Yeah, that's also a very good one. And another one is a rhyming and rhythm. So when they are using rhyme and rhythm with singing, and also they're creating poems. So for young learners also, they can use book, for example, cook, yeah, that kind of thing. So they like it when they are using that kind of things. Yes. And another one is telling story. When teachers are telling stories, so we use different sounds. For example, the line is coming, or whatever it is, raw, or at the time they are very interested in that by using different songs, and then also stress, intonation, falling narration, and also connected speech. They can learn from that as well when they are practicing. Yeah, and another one is also human dictation. I think some of you play human dictation. So one is saying some sentences or words. So the other one is coming and listening and write it down, the other person. So at the time, so they have to discover that what they tend not to hear. Yeah. So if they make mistakes for homophones, for example, so at the time they will make mistakes. And also it's a challenging, engaging, fun, and competing each other. Yeah, in groups, for example, team A, team B. Yeah. Okay. And also someone in also voice recording. So they can listen their voice, which one is good and which one is not very sound like that. Yeah. These are the things that I use with my students, and they are very practical, fun, and then they like it. Yeah. So it's a kind of pleasurable learning process. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Tisa. I like the idea of using story to practice intonation, and also you remind me of practicing pronunciation via tongue twister activity.
Yes.
I'm sure all of us are familiar with the sentence, she sells seashells by the seashore.
Yeah, on the seashore. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We are a little bit running after the time, so may I ask for your permission to stay another 15 minutes for Q&A and closing, please. So thank you so much. I'm not good at managing time. Sorry. So now moving on Q&A, I can see in the chat box a lot of ideas and suggestions from teachers across the region as well. So thanks so much, and I hope that you all feel helpful and useful. So our colleague Davide has helped me select some questions from participants. And also thanks Davide for answering some questions in the chat box as well. Thanks so much for that. So I would like to take questions from Faisal from Indonesia. My apologies if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Faisal asked the question about how to motivate the students effectively, so they want to speak out in English loudly. Sometimes they just too shy or afraid to make mistakes in speaking. So I would like to pass this question to Fitra from Indonesia, please.
Okay, let me try to give my way, but I'm so scared whether you will agree with me or not. So I personally believe that as a teacher, we have to encourage and motivate our students. So the first one is make them feel free to speak, and then you let them to speak by their own way. And then maybe you can correct them after that by saying, not to make them shy in front of their class mates, okay? So make the atmosphere in teaching engaging, okay? So you can have so many interesting games in teaching English, especially in pronunciation. So do you know, if you do the kind of engaging games in teaching pronunciation, so they are very motivated in your teaching. Do you know, sometimes even though it is a pandemic now, I try to apply games in teaching English by various techniques. So my students say, oh, thank you, Ms. Vitra, for your teaching today. Okay, so as teacher, you can create the games or techniques by yourself, or you can adapt from other experts. So please don't be pessimist in teaching them, okay? But you have to give them more motivation. That's all from me. So everything in teaching English will be engaging if you use games, not make them the students scared in teaching and learning English. Okay, let them to be free and enjoy in our teaching. So the point is you have to various techniques in teaching them. Okay, thank you. My great friend from Indonesia.
Thank you, Fitra. And I hope Faisal still there to hear your suggestion as well. Another question from Vietnam. I would like to ask Linh, but because of the time constraints, so could you please be concise? So another question from a Vietnamese participant. Memorizing the IPA is hard. Vietnam's students rather put their own alphabet or letters to remember the pronunciation. So is it okay? The question is from the Nick and Chow. Yeah, thank you, Linh.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, that is the way that in many years, especially many years ago, many Vietnamese learners has tried. We use the Vietnamese letters to make the phonemic transcript instead of the IPA. However, as I think learner at that age can make the difference between the IPA and Vietnamese, and I think it would be helpful if teachers like us make it clear between the similarities and differences between our Vietnamese way of pronunciation with the IPA way. For example, the sound th in Vietnam and th in English. Once we make it clear the differences in pronunciation, the two sounds, then it will be easier for learners to differentiate and pronounce it. I think so. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ling. We still have a lot of questions, but sorry that we don't have enough time. So I would like to close the Q&A section here. So thank you very much for all the sharing and all the informative insights and experience and practical activities in teaching pronunciation as well. It is 5:06 already, and I would like to introduce to you about the free online course on how to teach pronunciation. So Ling, can you help me to show our participants how to sign up for the course? It's just like 1 or 2 minutes, and it's very simple to do that.
Yeah. Can I share my screen now?
Sure, please.
Yeah.
So
here we go.
Yeah, just some highlights from the course. It starts today at the 1st of March. And this is a 4-week course with 3 modules and totally 12 hours. So please join a Facebook group and a Facebook Live. You can choose a Facebook group and Facebook Live events. You also receive a British Council certificate at the end. And of course, the course is 100% free of charge for every teacher. So are you ready, Lynn?
Yeah. So when you enter the web site, the ID of British Council teachingenglish.org.uk, we will come to this website. And when you click in training, and then we will see the course that Ms. Dương has mentioned, teaching pathways, how to teach pronunciation. So I just click in here. And there we go. We will have step-by-step guidance on joining this course. If we haven't had an account, feel free to create a free account by clicking in here. Okay. And then it will listen to, every step of signing up and creating a new account. Should I do, every step of this one, Ms. Dương?
Yeah, let's just do it quickly to show how easy it is. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so I'm entering my information.
Username and then email address. You need to confirm your email address. Then you choose a password, which is strong enough link. That's what it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Should have
okay.
Yeah.
That's good now. Right. Strong password. Okay, so
and then if you would like to receive newsletters from the British Household, so please just click in the 2 boxes.
Yes. And here we go.
Yeah, fill in your names again. And on the privacy notes that you need to click on accept terms and conditions. And also you are over or under 18 years old, please.
Yeah.
Tick the box, just moving down. And
yes, I'm just entering the password. Ooh. Yes, tick here, tick here. Okay. Oh, yes. We need to tick on I'm age 18 over. And here we go.
Just a minute. Yes, successfully signed up.
So I will visit the course website by clicking here.
Yeah. You just click visit our course website. So as said, the course starts today and we'll close on the 28th of March. So you have 4 weeks to explore more about how to teach pronunciation. We don't have a time to answer all of the questions, but I hope that when you join this online course, you may find some answers to your questions. Okay, so it is easy to sign up for the course. So thank you so much, Linh. And we would like to spend a couple of minutes to introduce to you the upcoming events in March, held organized by the British Council. So may I ask my colleague, Maria from Indonesia, to introduce to you some upcoming events. Maria, the floor is yours.
Hi, Yung. Thank you for the time. Great. Okay, so we have the slides up as well. Hello, everyone. I am Maria from British Council Indonesia. I'd like to briefly share some upcoming events that are open for all English teachers across the regions that will be hosted by British Council Indonesia. First, we have Saturday Tech Talk. This would be like the last session of the series, and in this session, you'll be able to explore the use of low-tech and high-tech tools to assess your students' performance. And then the next one, we are kicking off a new series called ELT Today, Opportunities and Challenges. And the first topic for this first session would be the strategies for teaching multimodal literacy. So if you are interested or want to know more about how to teach multimodal literacy, please come and join us. Thank you, Yung.
Thanks, Maria. And next, Davide, would you like to put on your cameras and share a little bit about our upcoming event in Vietnam?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Yeah, in about 2 weeks' time, I can't remember now. 2 weeks on Saturday, I think, we're going to have the next in our webinar series, looking at some of our digital innovation projects. So this time we're going to see some of the results of a project between International House London and Hanoi Pedagogical University, where they've been creating some materials focused on junior secondary teachers. So again, you can see the link there. If you have your phone, you can click on the cover the QR code, and you can register for that event, which is on Saturday afternoon, 2 weeks on Saturday. Hope to see many of you there. Thanks, Zung. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Davide. It's on the 19th of March, so more than 2 weeks, Davide. Okay, and last but not least, my colleague Book from Thailand have something to share with you. So the time is yours, Book.
Hi, thank you. My name is Book. I'm from British Council, Thailand. So my event is a bit like different from my colleagues because it's not an online event. This is not a webinar. It's a poster competition for students. So this activity or this program is under the project which is called Climate Change and Girl Education in ASEAN, a vicious or virtual cycle. And as part of this program, we are launching the infographic poster competition, inviting young students aged between 14 to 17 years old across ASEAN countries to submit an infographic poster explaining their own understanding or their own version of the connections between climate change and girl education. This poster entry could be submitted by a hand-drawn poster or could be digitally created as well. The competition is now open and the deadline is until 20th of March. And I put the QR code here for more information and for anyone who wants to submit an entry. And also the website is also presented there. I will be dropping the website link and contact email for anyone who is interested as well. So that's my project. Thank you, Seong.
Thanks, Book. It's really interesting competition about climate change and girls' education. So last but not least, to our audience, today. Don't forget to do the survey at the end. And so when you close, when you leave, don't forget to finish the survey. You can use the QR code on the screen. A very simple survey. And when you finish the survey, you are able to download the certificate of your attendance of today's webinar as well. So thank you on the audiences. And it's good to note that after clicking submit on submitting the survey, please wait to download the certificate. You can see the message instructing you how to download the certificate after you click submit for the feedback. Okay, so it's 5:15 already, and our webinar is drawing to a close. Lots of wonderful insights and questions today. Before we finish, a big thank you to our speakers. Thanks Fitra from Indonesia, thanks Tinza from Myanmar, thanks Kay from Thailand, and thanks Linh from Vietnam. Thank you so much for taking your time to share all of your vast experience and all amazing techniques and ideas with our audiences. We still have over 150 participants staying with us until now. So thanks so much, and really appreciate your time. And also thank you so much all the teachers across ASEAN countries joining us today. Once again, thank you everyone, and bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Keep in touch. Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Hope to see you next time. Goodbye.
Yeah, hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Have a lovely evening, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
You
Yes,
you.
too.
thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you, Miss Jung. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.